Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to part 41 of Letters. Fuck's sake, let's play Tyranny Blind. Let's get on with it. Now, we have got some area. We've got like an entire area to go to. So. Okay, no. Trap worthy.
Don't you die on me!
I am so lucky I did that when I did.
No dice.
I'm going to say that probably hurt me.
Will do.
So,
Sorry,
let's check around here and see if there's... Oh, okay, there's dead bodies. Oh, okay, there are some wraiths. Oh, no, 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 no. Fuck you, Malices. Okay, so let's engage before I do this. So, crumble shields, set the Malice on fire, stab him. Don't heal him, that would be dumb.
Not a problem, boss.
Let's have it then.
Okay, so we're just gonna... There we go, Barrack. Oh,
Let's do it, you and me.
there we go, we'll use the best one with ability.
Ready for another?
Hopefully deal with the majority. I'm gonna go deal with the Malice myself, I think.
Sorry, I can't.
There we go. Malice, you're online. I will risk my own life
If I had kids,
I don't die.
feeling that. Feast my iron. Good work.
Right?
That's
heal
how
myself.
it's done.
These warriors resolve you knob egg. I pressed it and it
I'm injured.
Sometimes. You're injured. I had no fucking... I had no indication you were injured, my friend. I apologize. Oh, wait, no, I don't. You're fucking idiot.
On it. Pay attention, kids. You might
Doesn't help
learn
my
something.
men are fucking crap at killing people. We've got an 85% chance of this. That's fine.
That's how it's fucking done.
Oh, that was
I got
close. That was close. Okay, yeah, just gonna do that because I don't want to die. Dying's not fun. And now we're in the dead of night. That's nice.
Right.
Let's loot all the fuck we can. Oh shit. Wait, is that another Commander's play? No, it's Bronze Brother's armor. Is that better than Commander's armor? That fucking is as well. That looks dumb though, so I'm not gonna bother. Yeah, we'll just sell it. I don't mind. My armor gives me an ability that I keep forgetting I have. Gotta remember that. Couldn't give a fuck about that. Go away. Go. Lantry, can we talk?
At your service.
Some questions.
I am nothing if not a semi-reliable font of
Let's
knowledge.
discuss arcane matters.
What did you want? And I'd be happy to oblige. Ever since the fall of the Vellum Citadel, it is hard to find someone with whom I can discuss such things.
What do you know of Kyros' edicts? Oh, fuck you, now you want me to read it? Kyros has cast many over the ages, and to my knowledge has never worded two edicts exactly the same. Edicts defy our understanding of magic. Kyros' magic works over vast distances over indefinite durations, and no Archon or mere mage can counter the force of an edict. What can you tell me about the edicts in general? I explain to my students like this. A spell is to an edict as a drop of the rain is to a hurricane. Edicts and spells are both magical cantrips, but differ in intensity by orders of magnitude. Edicts are almost commands to Tyranny that must be carried out until the instructions allow for the magic to end. If Kura wants a plague until the next Judge's Day, expect copious buboes until... Oh, fuck. That word, I don't like that word. I'm not good at saying it. Until the next Judge's Day. Nothing has ever dispelled an edict. Nothing outside of the edict's own sunset clause, as I'd like to think of them. I'm curious about specific edicts. Oh, fuck's sake. Didn't mean to say it. There we go. Specific edicts. Any thoughts on the Edicts of Execution cast on Vendron's Valley? It seems like the Archons are about to kill each other, and the threat of mutual destruction was about all Kyros had left. I imagined fear as the only way to get someone like the Voices of the Night to follow orders, and the Edict certainly did whip them into action. Edict of Stone. The Edict of Stone ravaged the realm of Azure. The upheaval of earth and rock turned the rolling plains to a craggy steppe known as the Stone Sea. Since he was directed at the traitorous Archon of Stone, it would seem the upheaval of Azure was a secondary consequence, though I imagine little of what Kyros does is unintentional. Edict of Fire. I was there when the ground erupted with fire, and I don't think I remember ever being as terrified as I was that day. If I hadn't woken up early, I'd have likely perished in my sleep or awoken to the experience of being immolated. I have very conflicted feelings about this matter. The School of Ink and Quill had every opportunity to surrender. The leadership chose to stand against the most powerful force in Turritus. While this is all very terrible, it was entirely preventable. You'll think me crazy, but there is a part of me saddened. I lived for an edict of fire. Curious as caused this before, I figured if I'm going to have a few years taken on my life, fleeing an edict would have been nice if it was a historical first. The Edicts of Storms. I would think you know more than most on the subject. I watched with great interest when it happened, but fleeing the Edict of Fire was a more pressing concern. The Edict of Storms turned the once forested lands of Starworld into a wind-swept wasteland. They call it the Bladegrave now, since the iron and bronze armaments remain. Only the iron and bronze armaments remain. Hurricane breezes, rust winds, and relentless lightning has destroyed the housing and farmlands. Let's talk about something else then. Do edicts work on the same arcane principles as spellcraft and other magic?
Edicts are the strongest manifestation of magic we know, and they seem to violate all other lesser phenomena. No dispel cantrip has ever dented or abated an edict. Even archons with powers of great durability cannot shrug off their effects. Just look at Cairn. Now, what I find curious, edicts can flex a little. Or so my studies suggest this is the case. Take the Edict of Storms. While the day it was proclaimed was the most violent, the actual radius of the storm has changed over time. But most will have none of my hypotheses on this matter.
Fine, I'll take the bait. What's your conjecture about edicts?
So, in my studies, some edicts resolve some problem of the overlords and then vanish into history. But the edicts that linger around, almost all of them begin to widen. Their effects become more intense. Here's the intriguing part. The older the edict, and the more that's written about it, the more the reports of that edict get more dire over time.
Perhaps lead edicts have a life of their own, and once set into motion, of their own once set into motion.
Something to that effect, at least. I contend that edicts are powered by fear. Fear of Kairos helps fuel the casting, and fear of the edict feeds the magic, sustaining it, and, if enough people fear it, even growing it a bit.
Rulers by fear is certainly Kuros's way.
Intellectual honesty demands that I study the matter more. If I'm correct, the more people fear and obsess over an edict, the stronger it becomes. Anyway, another study for another time.
Let us speak of something else then.
And I'd be happy to oblige. Ever since the fall of the Vellum Citadel, it is hard to find someone with whom I can discuss such things.
Now, I do apologize, ladies and gentlemen, for this, because I know that I said I wasn't going to be doing this, but I was really interested last time I played when we were talking about Omiphios about this, so I thought I may just indulge myself. So let's talk a bit. We're going to probably finish this episode off by talking. So what do you know of the magic of the Archons? I've studied many of the Archons for many years. Compared to the other sages, I'm an expert on the subject, which is sad because I feel like I've still much to learn. How does the magic of Archons work? The Archons have all the magical powers that are intuitive. When the voice of Narat pulls out someone's mind, or Graven Ash protects his soldiers, that magic isn't a signed spell or ritual. To them, it's close to flexing one's hand. Archons are what's the word for it? Axiom of magic, the root of magic, spell of pioneers. I'm sure this analogy is off in many ways, but I see Archons as the mothers of original magic, and everyone else is just imitating them. To confuse things a bit, some Archons learn to cast other spells in the same fashion as us, lesser mages. If you're as important as an Archon, you'll learn quickly that all knowledge is power. So are all Archons loyal to Kairos? Officially, yes. In actuality, no. Those with the true gift for magic always come to the attention of Kuros. A few manage to evade attention for a bit. The School of Tyres was founded by one such uncontrollable, but these are history's exceptions. When we write biographies of Archons, we often refer to them as exarchs. in their formative years before stepping into their prime, but officially, Kairos is supposed to grant all titles of Archon. It's quite the faux pas to self-appreciate. How is an Archon born or bred? I think we all dream one day of waking up and being an Archon. Given some of the madmen and loons that have exhibited mystical greatness, it can seem unfair that the rest of us can't do it. I can say with confidence, Archons aren't born, they become. Graven Ash is a good study of this. Before he was the Archon of War, he was a successful commander. Each victory more daring and glorious than the next. Somewhere along the line, his leadership took on mystical qualities. The Graven Ash we know today can reach out and protect his soldiers from harm. But maybe at first he could just protect those near him. I wouldn't know for certain. But all will attest that he didn't have this power his whole life. Let's speak of something else.
And I'd be happy to oblige.
Spellcraft.
I've forgotten more than most blood chanters have ever learned. What do you want to know?
Can you teach me anything?
Most certainly. I probably should have shown you how to mend wounds sooner. If you have a moment, I can show you the healing sigil I was trained to use.
No time like the present, definitely. Rummaging through his satchels, the sage produces a long quill and a crumpled piece of parchment. With the 7 quick strokes of the quill, he inks pattern on the page. We'll start off with first principles. When mending wounds and easing pain, we invoke the magic of the orphan midwife, Archon of Rebirth. By invoking her sigil, we channel her mastery, however briefly, through our own hands. Now, trace a signal, following the lines in order. I etch them in the order I etch them. Follow his instructions. Since this isn't your first catnip, I'll move a little more quickly, but I think you can keep up. Let you walk through the countless repetitions of the sign of the sigil, mystical sigil. For hours, you wave your hand in the air with no effect. At last, you sign the pattern in the air and you feel a rush of power through your veins. Yep. And so, if you need to heal a pain as opposed to purge an infection, you'd move your own hand like so. But you know, that's enough for now, and I think you can rest and figure out the rest on your own.
I think you know all I can teach you.
Fair enough. What sorts of magic did the sages teach you? Sage Sindran tutored me in the traditional gifts, those of preservation, concealment, and healing, as derived from the bygone archons of Favorus, Fading Wrath, and the Orphan Midwife. The preservation's magic is largely functional, sealing parchment, binding books, that sort of thing. All of us chronicles learn concealment magic, as our ideal method would be to study events without contaminating the decisions being made. As for healing magic, many of us modern sages study this a great deal. The school has a shoddy reputation among its common folk. I figure if they know us as healers and caregivers, maybe we would start to change opinions. To be fair, my character probably would say this. They didn't teach you to conjure lightning or something fun? Sounds boring. Yes, well, I suppose boring attracts fewer enemies than dangerous. The way I see it, we've already invented enough ways to kill each other without other magics. Why bother? Can you tell me about something about signing magic? Scholars don't have a good word for what the Archons do when they cast magic. Couldn't tell you how Graven Ash casts his protection over his soldiers, nor would I know how Blade and Mark consciously decides to move through a shadow. But when, as mere mages want to cast spell, we do so by stunning the sigil of an Archon that previously discovered the magical phenomenon in question. It's debated whether Archons create new magic or just discover magic that was waiting for us, but each question seems impossible to answer while sober. That's all for now then. I was not finished.
At your service. I am nothing if not a
See,
semi-reliable
there are
font
more.
of knowledge.
Talk to you about fuck it, yes. What's your story? Tell me the origins of Lantria. Someday, someone half your age will ask you to sum up your life, and you'll realize what an odious request that is. Well, where to start? I grew up in Sunder. I was born right after the independence from the realm of Stalwart, so yeah. Do the math and you'll realize I'm old. He's 84 years old. Jesus fucking Christ. My parents were harbour hands. My mother never returned from a voyage, and my father lost his hand to infection and decided to sell me to a school of ink and quill. Wow. As a novice, I was assigned to the Dovercoats, where I learned to raise and groom birds to carry missives, and most of my early tomes are on that subject. 10 years and several tomes later, someone decided I was ready to welcome into the inner circle and show him the ways of magic. And then I learned Wait. Yeah. Just making sure I haven't missed anything. And since then, I've spent a great deal of time in field study, which I suppose readied me for life after the fall of Velium Citadel. Well, as much as anything could ready one for the strangest of these days. You know what? We're going to leave Lantry alone for now. Let's poke some fun with someone. I would poke some fun at other people, but... Well, I won't poke fun, but I would intrigue, like, talk to them, but... We kind of need to leave here, because, well... We got other shit to do, you know what I'm saying? Oh, sweet, I can now make myself a healing sigil. Restoring touch. Healing wisp. Healing aura. Plus 21% health, plus... Yeah, we're going to go with this. Restoring touch. That does not... Sigil of... It's like... What's this? Sigil of Cyclone. Ooh, I could learn... I could learn that. Okay. Let's just check this. Oh, sweet, you can make a line attack? Yep. Sign that to Lantry. Just gonna give him new attacks. What's this? Fuck that. Is this it? Corrosive Bolt. His other one, yes, corrosive, that's the new one. No, it wasn't, it was concussive. Let's get over the river. I just realised something. Was there a way across there? No, there wasn't. Anyway, let's get out of here, guys. Home, well no, not homeward bound, to the next area, whichever that is. I am actually, oh yeah, now that I've learned to heal, we're going to get rid of, no, redeploy we'll keep, quicken we'll keep, actually, where do I want to put this? I don't like that, so we'll do that. This way I have heal ready. Now, I want to go straight to Deserter's March, and I'm going to. 18 hours, so we're going to be doing it in the dead of night. That is fine with me. I am completely okay to be doing it in my room. What the fuck am I saying? I'm freezing, ladies and gentlemen. Ugh. Let's talk to Verse to finish off the episode. We've got 2 minutes left.
At your service, Fatebinder.
Verse bows with an added flourish. Well, that's very nice
What
of
do you need?
Let us talk. What are your thoughts on the disfavored? A warren of self-entitled children so wound up in delusions of honor they're likely to hang themselves by their own high standards. I wish I'd stayed in the Northern Empire where they belong. I wish they had stayed in the Northern Empire. Then we could get some real work done in the tiers. What do you think of their leader, Graven Ash? I've seen enough of that high-minded braggart to know he's an all duty. Nothing but a charismatic, broad-shouldered scarecrow. He calls himself the Archon of War, though by the way he stalls his forces waiting for a better strategy to present itself, you'd think he's afraid of battle. Watch your words. I will not hear you talking of the Archon this way. A growl ripples through Barak's armors, accompanied by sounds of bending metal. Was I even talking to you, Junkyard? And no, I will not. Oh yeah, you would think that someone more deserving would take Ash's mantle from him, but the disfavored have this cult personality. A cult of personality built around their great general. In their eyes, he can do no wrong. How is Ash's connection? What about Ash's connection to his troops? Graven Ash protects. His soldier keeps harping on those words like they mean something. I don't deny that disfavored can take a few extra lumps on the battlefield. That only speaks to their thick-headedness. If anything, it's only true because his soldiers place that much trust in it. I've seen the power of suggestion do stranger things to people. Shouldn't have battlefield wounds? I don't think so. Suit yourself. I'm not putting it out there, and I don't see you coming up. I'm just putting it out there, and I don't see you coming up with any great explanation for a soldier who bounces back from a killing wound. Who would you see take Ash's place? I'd rather the disfavored sort it out among themselves. Graven Ash is his aging figurehead of what should be a constantly changing role. The right soldier needs to grow a pair and kill the old man, kick his cane from out from under him, remind the Legion what strength looks like. The voice of Norat changes. He's a multifaceted gem. And the Scarlet Chorus is a reflection of that beauty. If someone could rise up and strike down the voices, any of us would follow them in a heartbeat. I suppose you have a better idea how to handle the disfavored forces? Of course I do. First, I'd stop babying the troops. Pain is a lesson best learned early. I'd conscript on the locals to bolster the front lines, because why waste your elite on the vanguard? Then I'd leave any misplaced ethics back in the Northern Empire. They're not helping Curus's campaign anyway, so fuck them. You take away everything that makes them strong. It's a damn fine alternative from where I'm standing. If all the strength couldn't end a siege, what good is it to anyone? Would that be so wrong? The chorus is accountable for itself in the ways the disfavored aren't. Our weak die and the strong fight to keep their rank. The disfavored promote their waning bloodline and discipline any soldier with the audacity to show their teeth. Though they'd never admit it, the disfavored need the chorus to show them the way. And that is all we're going to have today, ladies and gentlemen. So I hope you guys have enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next part. See you guys then.